Good morning, everyone. I know we have everyone filling in here now on the webinar. I always like to start off with, off the bat, today is going to be recorded. So I know how this time of year goes. I know especially on Fridays, you've got fires you're trying to put out. Maybe you got some weekend plans that you're really looking forward to. For once, I don't have any weekend plans that we have going on. So I'm looking forward to that. We've been pretty go recently. So it's nice to have a weekend where we're not going to be. So we know how Fridays go this time of year, especially, but we're really excited and really appreciate you guys taking the time to join us today. Like we talked about, this is going to be a live Ask Us Anything on the Integrity Connect suite of products. So we have a couple questions that came through ahead of time. So thank you to those that did send your questions to the team ahead of today's webinar. I'm really excited about it. Gio, I don't know about you, but I think this is going to be an awesome AEP, and I really think Integrity Connect is going to be the tool to help you take that AEP to the next level.
Oh, absolutely. Just time management entirely. Like it can save you just a massive amount of time, especially when you look at integrating plan and roll as well. It's a huge game changer.
Absolutely. So without any further ado, I'll knock out some quick introductions. If you guys aren't familiar with either of us, then we will get into today's webinar. So my name is Will Pierce. I am the Associate Director of our Key Accounts Department here at Senior Marketing Specialist. So help our agents with just about anything and everything that they could need. It doesn't matter what those questions are, please do send them over to me. So application status checks, underwriting, commission questions, how do I continue to grow this AEP? What, especially recently, what's even going to be offered or commissionable in my market? So if those are some questions that have been burning in your mind, this webinar is not the webinar for those, but do give our office a call at 800-689-2800, and I will turn it over to Gio for a quick introduction on himself.
Hey, I'll keep it briefly here. This is we're going on 3 years here. So I am the sales training specialist here at Senior Marketing Specialist. And I also specialize in the technology. So I focus on doing a lot of one-on-one trainings with our technology here as far as Medicare or plan and roll. We had the recent name change. Well, I keep calling it Medicare.
IntegrityCONNECT.
IntegrityCONNECT, that's right. So the IntegrityCONNECT trainings, leads. I also do a lot of product specific training. So if you're wanting to work into, ancillary production, we do a lot of hospital indemnity trainings, cancer insurance, home health care. I know recently we started doing some product specifics from some of the carriers as well that have some of the more unique programs out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for that, Gio. Really excited to get going into today. So Gio, the first question that we had to come through is going to be, I know that I can add custom tags onto my profiles, but I've never done it before. Is it easy? How do I do it? What can I do with that information?
Oh, yeah. So first of all, it's super easy. Once you're in your client's profile, right, you're just going to go to the left and there's going to be a little column that says tags, and you can create a custom tag and assign. The one thing that I will say that I like about the custom tags is there's no limit. So you could have multiple custom tags on one individual. Maybe you want to tag everybody that you're writing PDPs with, so you can prioritize when you want to do your PDPs versus your MAPDs. Maybe you have certain clients that you feel are a good candidate for a particular ancillary products. Maybe you want to add like a hospital indemnity tag on there. Once you have those tags on there, you're able to go to all of your contacts as a whole and then filter by those tags individually. So really it can be a variety of different things that you could tag for. I'm trying to think of some other examples. Those are the two big ones that I've talked about recently with individuals. But you could be, even if you're doing something to where you're acquiring a book of business and you've done an import of new contacts, that's another big one where you could put those tags on there. So, hey, we really want to make sure we're reaching out to these individuals.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Gio. I think you're spot on with that. I think a couple things that I want to point out here on it is right here where it says assign a new tag, it is that easy. So there's a couple that I have pre-built here just to kind of talk about and show an example. So right here, no medications. I really like that one. Thinking about the Missouri market, and honestly a lot of states over the last couple of years, that WellCare PDP had been $0 on premium. If you've got clients that take no meds, gotta have a PDP so we don't get those penalties. That tag will allow you to filter those clients down so that you can knock them out and sort them out quickly if they still didn't have any med changes. Cross-sell recommendations. If you've got a lot of clients on one specific product plan, you can put UHC PPO on here, or Aetna SmartFit, or whatever plan you've written a lot of in your market over the last couple of years. And if you know what's happening with that plan, this AEP, you can quickly filter those down. So if we needed to create a new tag, say I just want to do a PDP tag, so I can just quickly add that to this client's profile, it is right here on their custom tags dashboard. So it really is super fast to add a tag. It makes for a great filter as well when you're trying to build out your AEP game plan.
And I would say too, just to add to that, the more tags you have, the better. If you want to be very organized, just so you can get your clients filtered down, there is no limit to how many tags that you can have in the system.
Great point there. Leading off of that tag and custom tag system, Gio, another question we had come through was, where can I see the shopper priority tags on clients once that information gets loaded in?
So there's two different ways that you can see that actually. If you go in off of a profile and you just click Start Quote and click Medicare, and you see the list of Advantage Plan products down the list, at the very bottom in a footer below the specific product, it's going to give you cross-selling recommendations. Hospital indemnity is basically going to be on just about every Medicare Advantage plan, I believe, will, because I mean there is a need for it, obviously, with how high those co-payments are and that max out of pocket, as well as a cancer recommendation. What I like specifically is I was going through my profile and looking at some clients that I had written recently, and what it will also do is as soon as you submit an application for somebody, there will be cross-selling recommendations that go under the client's profile. So if you click in on the specific client's profile under activities, you'll see, I'm looking at an app here that I submitted recently, and then right after that, within a couple days, it said recommendation cross-sell. And I'll read to you what this says. Based on the enrollment in specific plan, it'll tell you the exact plan that you've enrolled the person in. The following ancillary products are recommended. Hospital indemnity. In the case of a 10-day hospital stay, this plan will cost the beneficiary more than $1,750. So just a really cool benefit just to have in there, because it actually customizes it based on your enrollment in the plan. So that's why it's like a day or two later, once that goes through, it's like, hey, we have a recommendation for your most recent client.
Yeah, I think actually, Gio, we jumped ahead on the question there into the ancillary one, but that is no problem. We will also show it when you do pull a client's live quote, just so you can see what that looks like here. So example on this sample profile, wonderful human being of a client that I've got here. As you can see right there at the bottom, the Ask Integrity cross-sell recommendations populate right off the top there. So as you're looking and as you're going through all of these quotes, these are going to be pulled from the Ask Integrity AI feature. So if you've never used that and you have questions about it, put that question in the chat so that we can help you map out what that Ask AI feature is, what it does, what it looks like as well, and honestly how it can be utilized to save you a bunch of time this AEP. But to Gio's point here on running the live quote on the cross-sell recommendations, it's going to almost always populate that. I've yet to see a plan where it doesn't recommend at least something for that plan. I think we all know and we're all familiar with the vast changes we're seeing on Medicare Advantage plans this year. So I would really make sure that you're comfortable and taking a look at that for this AEP. I will also say one thing that I want to point out is right here where it says commissionable. That is going to be so important this AEP. I know we didn't get a question on it, but I'm going to go ahead and make sure that we do cover this right now. That's going to be huge for this AEP, as if we see another AEP like last year where something changes mid-AEP and the carrier has to make a pivot and has to make an adjustment, that's going to update right here in the IntegrityCONNECT platform. So you can always know and always be able to see what plans are going to be commissionable. Now, if I kick over to PDP, you will actually see as well that it is not commissionable there. So what you're going to want to make sure you're looking at is either that red dash or the green check mark on that front. So it's going to make sure that you are staying where you need to be staying, writing commissionable products, and not getting anywhere that you don't need to be on that front. Gio, anything else you want to add to that?
No, I mean, I think that's a big thing to touch on because a lot of these carriers, we receive news with these Advantage plans of them sending out these big lists of these non-commissionable plans or things that have changed, especially what we're seeing in the PPO market and even some HMOs depending on the area as well. The first thing I thought of is I'm like, I hope that it shows the same, I'm thinking of last year with the PDPs and I'm like, oh, it's so nice that it's going to be on the Medicare Advantage side too, because really the last thing you want to do is like, oh, I've got a plan that I want to recommend a client. Let me go pull up X list from X carrier in X area to see if it's commissionable. It'll all be here in the platform for you.
Yeah, and I don't know about you guys, but the amount of emails carriers tend to send out, plus you trying to sort through your clients and like client emails and referral partners and all that stuff that you guys have in your inboxes, the last thing that I would want to be doing is spending time trying to search. I personally never feel like I can find what I'm looking for when I search for an email. It doesn't matter if it's my Gmail or if it's Outlook, whatever platform I've ever used for emails, I can never find anything via search. So we want to make sure that we're saving you guys time, this AEP, and looking where you need to be looking. Did get a question on the AI feature. So Gio, what do you like about the Ask Integrity AI tool?
I think the most recent update that has really stood out to me is if you use the system for your call recordings, that it can summarize that call. So you're able to you can have them summarize that call. It can tell you what you discussed and just give you a brief summary without, let's say you didn't take notes or maybe your notes weren't as great because you got caught up in the call. I think that's my favorite feature. But some of the other things, well, I know we were talking about it earlier, but or maybe it wasn't you that I was talking to about it with it, but it was somebody else where we were going through and if you add a long list of medications and you only have one doctor, that AI will flag up a message saying, hey, are you sure this client doesn't, see more than one doctor? A lot of these medications look like they would prescribe a specialist. So just little checks and balances there that I really like. You can go in and just ask like, hey, tell me about so-and-so client and type in your client's name and it'll give you a brief context summary of that client.
Yep, and I'm showing it. This is
as I was saying it.
This is live for you guys. So as you can see, it'll pop up 2 medications, CVS pharmacy. It'll even tell you the last update date that you made on that or when the last activity on that profile was. One thing that I think is really cool about that is Gio talked a little bit about the Plan Enroll platform earlier. Send that out to make sure that you're getting marketing lists and you're getting your drug list back in, getting scope signed on Plan Enroll, whatever you're utilizing that marketing tab for. If you're wondering, I wonder, did they get it back? Not only can you go in to the marketing tab and see who opened, who clicked on it and all that, but you also can see right there on that last updated date. If you're like, I've got an appointment coming up with Jim, when was the last time that his meds were updated? I've not had time to go in and review all of that. If it's been 3 months since his profile has been updated, decent chance he maybe didn't turn in that Plan Enroll link, and I would think you'd need to be getting him a call. So that Ask Integrity tool is wonderful. It also, Gio touched on it a little bit, but Gio, do you want to expand on what it can do if you're using the platform for your call recordings?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's it. And I will say personally, I haven't had the chance to use it as much firsthand, but just some of the demo videos and things that I've watched on it, when you go in and you're doing that call recording, it can pick up things from that call recording and put stuff in the notes. And that to me is just a huge time saver. Everybody has a different method in how they want to take notes. Some people are typing up notes after the fact, or maybe they're handwriting it and having to go back in later. This is just another feature that just saves a lot of time for you because it's doing everything. So I mean, that's a huge time saver. I definitely want to get some more firsthand experience so I can speak on it a little bit more, Will, but I mean, just from the videos and stuff that I've seen on it and just what I've seen on what it can do in some of those recent updates, I'm really excited to take it out for a test drive.
Absolutely. One thing that I think is super cool about it is we all know how much our seniors love not only their grandkids, but also their pets. If you're talking to them and you ask them how Fido's doing, that just takes that relationship with the client to this next level. I'm not telling anything you guys don't already know and haven't already lived 100 times more than I will ever live in my life. But if you're using the platform for your phone call recordings, it will remember their dog's name as well. Like it gets very detailed on the memory that it will build through having everything within here. So if you're sitting there and you're like, oh, I don't remember the dog's name. I can picture the dog in my head, but I don't remember Sally's dog's name. If you're using your call recordings here on Integrity Connect, the Ask Integrity AI feature will be able to pull that up from past conversations and remember those details for you to really help continue to take those client relationships to the next level.
And kind of a bonus that I would add on to that in a separate category aside from the Integrity AI is when you're doing call recordings in the system, it is going to be the most organized call recording that you've seen, because a lot of call recording platforms that you're using, third party, but I've talked with agents, you have this long list of calls that you have to sort through, type in the number, type in the contact details. And in this platform, you literally click on their profile and you can see a history of every single call that you've had with them, and it's time and date stamped. So if and it'll tell you the length of the call too. So you're able to download that. Again, just most of our calls are, with the sales and enrollments with the Advantage plans are required to be recorded. But even if it's not required to be recording, I would do it anyway, right? Just put some extra protection for you, and also being able to use that AI note feature a little bit more too. Absolutely. And you don't ever have to worry about if you forgot to record a call, because you're doing it on every single one.
Very, very good point there. Gio, you touched a little bit on plan enroll earlier. We had a question come through of how easy is it to set up plan enroll campaigns? If I want to send everything out to my clients, what does that look like? So as you can see, I've got my marketing tab pulled up here. Gio, walk us through how easy it is to set up one of these campaigns.
So are you talking about doing individually or just sending it to everyone?
Either way.
So if you're wanting to send it, I'll go over through two different methods, because if you're working with a new client, right? If you're in their client profile, you're just going to the contact or connect tab, I should say, and you are, go ahead and pull that up. So I know you're in the marketing tab now, but I wanted to show individuals, because sometimes I think, at least when I've talked with individuals before doing a massive one, they like to kind of test it out a little bit on an individual basis, and then jumping in and doing the mass ones.
All right, I got Jane Doe here pulled up.
Yep. So if you go in and go to scroll down a little bit, and under that memberships where we see get synced, if you click that.
Okay.
Right. What it's going to do, and this is what it's going to default to. It's going to default to sending an email. Now you can change this to a text as well, but it's going to send an email to have clients create a plan enroll account. And you'll see the very bottom section there, it says to Jane Doe. So it's going to default to the client profile you click on. If you scroll down a little bit and click that expand button, that'll show them exactly what that email looks like.
Ooh.
Right. So it's going to have the consumer's name, and it'll have your name and details in there that you have at the bottom. It'll have your headshot if you've updated that in your profile in Integrity Connect. Right. Well, I keep wanting to say Medicare Center.
You're all good. Yes, in the Integrity Connect profile. So this will show the wording that the client will see in their email when it comes through from you. I will say I had a wonderful agency partner of ours on accident actually mass blast this out to their entire client base before they were really ready to, before they were ready to field calls and questions on it, and had wonderful results and wonderful response rate on it as well. Then Gio, let's look at if we want to do a mass campaign.
Yeah, absolutely. So one other thing, are you still on that page? Because I wanted to show one more thing on that page with the plan enroll there.
I can get right back to it.
So the only thing I was going to say is that we can go to the other section whenever you change. So there's those 3 different fields. I just wanted to kind of give the warning if you change any of those, because you can change that to just sending, like if you click the arrow there where it says to have clients create a plan enroll, and maybe you're just sending an individual one to somebody that says, hey, I didn't get the update one. Can you send me another one? So if you click to have clients update their plan enroll account, what it will do is it will default to all contacts, right? So you can go in there and then type in your individual contact, right? Now, if you go just to the marketing, let's talk about how we would do a massive one to everybody. But I always like to put that email in there just because.
Yeah, and I do want to point out all of the options that are now available within this as well. I think there's a couple that are really nice that I want to make sure that I point out, because I think this goes, quite frankly, very underutilized and underlooked at. So obviously you can create or update a plan enroll account and sign scope of appointment. Those are pretty straightforward and not on the newer end of things. A couple things that I personally really think are great. So when we talk about how to make sure that your clients stick with you year over year, I think it's no secret that you need to have touch points with them outside of just AEP. You can't just be calling them on September 1st saying, hey, I need your drug list for the year. Let's look at your plans. There's got to be some additional touch points throughout the year, right? So a couple that I always like to point out is thank clients for enrolling in a health plan. So what this will do is when a product status goes into active and it's a health product, so as it syncs and as you use this for enrollments, when that kicks into an active policy, you can send this email that will thank them for that enrollment. It says, I'm honored that you chose me to help you find a Medicare plan. Serving clients is always my goal, and your trust means the world. And it reminds them not hesitate to reach out, gives your personal plan enroll agent website and all of your contact information there below. That is a real quick and easy way that doesn't take a whole lot of time from you as the agent to thank clients for doing that and remind them that you're here to help. Your help, as we all know, doesn't stop after you hit submit on an application. There is always questions. There is always something new on that front. So another one I want to point out is happy birthday. When you've got a client and the month becomes their birth month on their profile, you can send them a happy birthday message. These are on the newer end, so I really like that this has now been added. Oh, yes. So we got a wonderful question. Judy, I'm going to get to your question here after we show how to send a campaign out to anyone that is in there. So we go back to marketing. New campaign. Gio, what do I need to know?
So when you go to your campaign, you can type whatever you're wanting to have in there. If you're doing a plan enroll, if you're doing, just a test, whatever you're wanting to do, you can label that in there. So once you do create, you're able to go in there and then you click that arrow and you're selecting what you want to send, right? If you want to focus on email or text, and then you're going to click the subject, right? So for that one, if we're wanting to do clients create a plan enroll account, that's going to be to all contacts with a plan enroll account. Now, if you go up, Will, this is the other one I really like, because this is what's going to save if you go to just clients update their plan enroll account. I really like that, because once you get clients to using that, you'll be able to send that to them each year, and it's going to pull up all of their existing information that's already in there. I know we're not touching too much on plan enroll, and I kind of go off a little bit into plan enroll when I talk about Medicare Center or IntegrityCONNECT. Again, I still got to get used to the rebranding name. But what I like about it is when you go back in as a client to update it, it shows all of the doctors they've added previously. It shows all the prescriptions they've added previously. So they're not having to and enter in all of that stuff again. And neither are you from an agent side. A lot of times they can just be saying, oh, I don't take this medication anymore, or, oh, I just added one medication. That saved both you and the client a ton of time.
No, absolutely. Great point, Gio. And a wonderful question that we got here was, I used Medicare app for a long time before using Medicare Center. I recently saw in one of our SMS newsletters, Judy, thank you for shouting out that newsletter. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed. There's a wealth of information always in the SMS newsletters. But she said, I recently saw in an SMS newsletter that my contacts could be imported from Medicare app into Medicare Center. Can you tell me how to do that? And yes, we absolutely can. So as you guys will see here, I'm actually in the Medicare app platform now. You can see here on the search beneficiaries, don't want to view an individual beneficiary. Let's view an entire book of business. So right here is all of my wonderful test samples I've used over the years for various webinars or other. If you download your results, so just going to click that, then I'm going to toggle back over into Medicare Center. All right, so once you're in the clients portion on Medicare Center, right here, you're gonna see the import button. You click import, you can drag and drop that CSV file you just downloaded right here. And it'll ask you how many leads can you import at a time? What fields are available for import? So this is what I really want to make sure that I point out. So question that I get all the time on this is, well, gosh dang it, the meds and the doctors don't port over. Now I've got to start back over from scratch with all that. And trust me when I say I hear you. I know that that's frustrating when we're talking about all the advancements and all the improvements Integrity Connect is making. Why can't I just bring over the meds and the doctors? And the reason that I want to make sure that we talk about it today is because Integrity is always going to default to the safest possible, most compliant, most legal way that you could possibly do something, because we want to make sure we're protecting you guys as the brokers. When it comes to that type of information that is super detailed, super PHI, PII protected, they're not going to port it over. But what I will say is these are all the fields that you can port in. It will not port ones in, Gio, correct me if I'm wrong, but without contact information. So they don't
Correct.
have an email or a phone number, right? The clients can't port in.
You do have to have both the email and phone number. You know, if you on all of your clients, what I've done for mass imported list is I've just put no email at gmail.com, and you can go in and remove that, because once it's in, you're only required to have one type of contact information, but the import does require you to have both. That being said, I would, you know, strongly encourage you to have a phone number of everyone you're importing, because you do not want to have to go to another system and keep going back and forth there.
No, absolutely. Great shout out there. What I would say is if you're looking to make the jump, this AEP 1, there is still time. I would make a use case that the perfect segue right now, if you're looking at making the jump, you're like, man, Integrity Connect looks really nice. It is really nice. And I want to finally make that move this year. Get that client list imported, and then use what we talked about earlier with the marketing campaign and send everyone that you have just imported in to get a plan and roll account set up.
Those of you coming from Medicare app, I came from Medicare app a year or two ago when I finally, I think it was last year when I really started did the move to Medicare Center, and it was Medicare Center at the time, right? So in Integrity Connect now. But I made the move then because that's when we started having the multiple pharmacies in there, and that's when I started using the platform. The other exciting thing, if you all haven't heard it yet, is Integrity Connect has implemented complete full phone enrollment. So you're able to go through the entire applications and it's recorded. So if you have those clients that struggle with technology a little bit, they don't have to send anything email or fill out anything text. You can do everything over the phone. I was so excited when that news came out, because that's what I've been waiting for so long.
No, that is a great shout out, Gio, especially coming to this AEP. I hear it from our agents all the time. Well, I have a lot of clients that don't have emails. They just have I don't have one, but they just have a flip phone. They really can't even like DocuSign on it. I got to do a paper app. Well, Integrity Connect has an answer for that, right? We don't have to do a paper app now. If you're in a non-face-to-face appointment with them, you can now do those voice signatures compliantly, securely, and most important, easy for not only the consumer, but for you, the broker, as well. Perfect. Speaking of those new updates, Gio, is there anything else that you feel like agents have missed as you're going through your trainings with them?
I will say one thing that comes to mind is those shopper tags. That's a big one. So each AEP they will update. So if you're on your main client profile, under the reminders, there's a little bell icon, and it'll highlight red if there's something that's like important going. So right now, I don't have a bunch of updated ones in mind, just because it's not AEP yet and all that stuff hasn't started. But when AEP comes, what will happen is they'll talk about like, hey, this person had a significant reduction in dental benefits, or hey, this person's max out of pocket went up X amount, or their hospital copayments went out X amount. And it basically will tag them based on the priority list of like how important it is to go through that client or to reach out to that client. The last one on mine, just because it was a recent one, but it was even just talking about a special election period for this impacted individuals. If they were unable to make an election period, they've got that. So just different things there. I think that's a big one. I know that's not one, that's one that even for me, I haven't utilized a ton, and I want to make sure I'm paying attention more as that list grows, just because it's a feature that I'm so used to just going in manually and looking at everything. But especially with what we're seeing, this AEP with some of those benefit reductions, that's going to be a big one to rely on, because if you see those tags and those levels, that'll give you an idea of who to hit first. And like, oh, this is a top priority one. They had a big change, or maybe their formulary is different, or their doctor's not covered, things like that.
Yep. Yeah, and I really want to dig into why that feature is so cool and why it's one of the many wonderful things about working with us here as senior marketing specialists as an integrity partner is that data is pulled from depth research. If you guys aren't familiar with depth research, the carriers love their data and would probably fight someone to get access to even more data from depth research, if I'm being honest with you. So what depth research does every year is their shoppers, switchers, and their gut check studies. And so what that actually does is they poll consumers on what's important to them about their healthcare coverage. And that's how they're able to build out these priority shopper and switcher tags by doing these studies and saying, okay, how much actual change in dental benefits every year causes someone to want to make a change on their Medicare Advantage plan? What are the important factors that actually lead to someone wanting to make a switch? And I think that's really cool because, Gio, I don't know about you, but my perception is always, well, yeah, if someone thought they were going to have $2,000 in dental and now they're going to have none, they're going to want to make a change. I'm going to have to call all of them. And depth research actually has the numbers to back up that that's not always the case with consumers, which is really cool.
One of the other features that I wanted to show, Will, can you do another quote real quick and just go on to a profile? Because there's something else that I have found useful. And I think anybody that does a lot of business over the phone will find it helpful too.
Yes, let me get Jane here pulled back up.
There's actually two things that I'll show. I want to show the comparison too, but I want to just click on just one profile first. So if you just click in on that main plan there, on just the plan details.
Yep, sorry, I've got things on my screen.
All good.
Oop, wrong click. There we go.
So this is something that I've started utilizing because I really like it. Being over the phone and not sitting face to face at most of the clients, if you scroll up to the very top and you click the share button, right underneath the name there.
On the contact?
Not on the contact, underneath the like Missouri 0006.
Yep. Sorry, our faces were blocking that on the screen.
You're all good. So you'll see that you can send any of those documents to the clients. A lot of times when I'm doing stuff with people over the phone, I like to send them that summary of benefits. Sometimes I'll send that with them if while we're on the phone and we can go through that together. Or a lot of times what I'll do is after they enroll in that plan, I want to send them a copy of that because a lot of times when you're dealing with somebody over the phone, it's not the same impact as being in person, right? We all know that there's just certain things that you miss, and some people can get a little hesitant and think, what did I just do? I just was on the phone for an hour and a half and I don't know what I did. I can tell you I've had my fair share of clients that I've talked to that have told me that about other agents, and they're nervous, and that's why they're calling me and you know, looking through stuff with me. So I always like doing that because you just click that button, summary of benefits, you share that, it goes directly to their email. And they can pull that up and go through that with you. They can go through it if they have any questions. I really like that because years ago when I was using app and a couple different platforms, I was going to the carrier site, downloading the summary of benefits, sending that to them. And it was this is so streamlined now. It's so nice.
I also think too, this really gets to something that I hear from a lot of agents is, well, what do I do for the clients that want to leave with something in their hands or, you know, have something physical with them? And I 100% hear that. I think there definitely is something to having a tangible resource with them as well. But I really like, to Gio's point here, on sending it to them because, and from a compliance standpoint, you can always, if they try to say, oh, I never received the information about star ratings on that, or I can't find the answer to this question, you can always reference that back and say, this was emailed over to you after our appointment on September 26th. Let me know if you didn't see it. I show a record of it being sent to insert email here. And so you've got that proof trail that the correct and compliant documents were sent to the client either before or after their enrollment into that plan.
The other thing too, I like, well, if you close that out and scroll to the very bottom, and this is personal preference for me, because if you go through, you can see everything lined up there, and it's going to talk about all the co-payments. But if you go to the very bottom, there's going to be the supporting documentation. So there's going to be a summary of benefits that you can go through. So if you're wanting to go through and have that client follow as you're going through, you click that summary of benefits and it's right there with you. I've always liked the way the summary of benefits are structured and just how everything's separated. It's my preference. But everything else is there too. You can look at the evidence of coverage. That's a very beneficial one, especially if you're trying to get into some of the nuances of what specifically does that dental cover or does that over-the-counter card cover. So evidence of coverage, more often than not, you will find yourself using that a ton.
And having that summary of benefits pulled up while you're meeting with them makes jumping into those extra products easier. If you are talking to them and you know, okay, I really got to talk to this client about a hospital indemnity plan. If you've got that summary of benefits pulled up, you can circle and reference that inpatient copay and say, okay, if you had to pay $1,200 for a 3-day hospital stay, do you have a plan for that? Do you have that in the budget? Where are we pulling that money from? It's like, I don't have a plan for that at all. I don't really want to have to pull out of my savings. Okay, awesome. Remind me when we get to the end, like, let's talk about a way that we can plug that gap for you on that coverage.
And I will point out too, Will, just to add to that, what you mentioned there, even if you have clients that you're going through what they have existing coverage with you, or even if it's with somebody else, that's also a great opportunity for a standalone sale. I mean, I've talked to people when I go through their copays, the only people that typically know them most of the time are somebody that had a recent hospital stay. And they're usually surprised when they hear their max out of pocket and they hear what the copay stay is per night. And if they've had a recent hospital stay and you tell them what that is, a lot of times they're going to want it because they're paying the last bill still.
Yeah, no, you are absolutely correct. We did get another question here in the chat. Wouldn't it be great if we could add a blurb about integrity, about AEP is coming, so the client knows why we're asking them for a plan enroll account? I absolutely hear you on that. I think that is something we could look at possibly requesting for going forward, as far as maybe making an AEP specific content blast that goes out. Follow-up question that we got was, if a client is already in Medicare Center and you import from the Medicare app profile, will it create a duplicate? And the answer is yes. However, let me get into one and you will see what pops up if you do have a duplicate. So I am back on Jane Doe's profile here. As you can see at the top, it actually will flag that this entry is a potential duplicate to these contacts. And so you can actually see who all the duplicates are when you're going through there. And if you click on that link, it will take you to the profiles that it is associating that same contact information here with. So as you can see, sample profile is one that pops up there on the engaged basis as far as someone that is a duplicate. So yes, it will pull in a duplicate, but it will also tell you who those all are. So you can view all of that, but yes, it does pull in duplicates.
And I will say, because I get this question a lot too, if you have spouses that are on the same email, you can do that. And as long as there's different name information, if they have the same contact, you'll still have that warning that it's a duplicate, but they'll still be two distinct separate profiles with the different information, prescriptions, doctors, plans, all that.
Yep, and I will say, if you're like, yeah, okay, but like, how do I clean up those duplicates? Because that's gonna, in time, annoy me. Absolutely heard on that front. Click that checkbox right there, and then just click the trash can icon, and you can clean up your duplicates that way. And I know that 100% here that is tedious. I don't have time for that right now. Absolutely, totally understand that. But that is a way that you can clean up those duplicates in time as they come through.
One thing that I will add to that when we talk about deleting clients, everything that we were talking about earlier with call recordings, applications, everything is stored for the required 10 years. If you have a client that falls off the books, do not delete them. You can go in and click and change that stage to lost and select the reason, whether it's something, if unfortunately they passed away, or maybe they just went with a different person. You can set that reason and it just shows it's a lost contact. Never delete an actual client out of your profile. I just want to emphasize that because you want to have all that stuff.
Yes. Got a question of what did I click to get to that screen? And I clicked right up here at the top. So these contacts is actually a hyperlink, and it'll pop up in another window I'm hoping that's kicking over. Yep, it's kicking over to that window. So you can see live. I click that, and then it will load up that screen that we were just on where it has those two affiliated duplicates based upon the information that's entered there.
Well, I've got one more thing that I want to show that I think is beneficial. Can you do a quote and then do a comparison feature?
Yes. How many plans do you want me to compare?
Just 2 for this one.
Okay.
Because this is something it's come up. I feel like a lot of my one-on-one trainings with the technology, this question's come up a lot. So I just wanted to make sure we went through it too.
Okay. All right. I've got Jane here pulled up, and I've got loaded up in the car a UHC HMO and an Aetna PPO to compare. What am I doing next?
All right, go ahead and just click that compare button to take us to the page there. And I want to outline kind of a couple different scenarios here. So if you scroll down just a little bit and you see that share button, go ahead and click that share button.
Okay.
So what that does is that shares the plan comparison. So basically all that information that you're seeing from the agent side, it's going to send the clients a link that shows the exact same stuff. And it's going to show the United Healthcare right next to the Aetna. Okay, couple reasons why this is beneficial. If you have a client that maybe they had a plan that had some benefit reductions, and you're trying to explain to them, hey, all of these plans had benefit reductions, and you're doing that comparison, you can send this over to them after their appointment if they're still on the fence and they haven't made a decision, and they've got the capability to completely enroll themselves after that from that link. So when you click share, what that does is it sends them a link and then it sends them a code to see all that stuff side by side. Another thing this is very beneficial for, your PDPs, right? I've had clients that have kind of gone back and forth based on a medication they might take, might not take. I know last year I was dealing with somebody and we were looking at a UHC one just because they wouldn't have the upfront cost in the beginning of the year. And then the WellCare one, cost was very similar. It was just spread out differently. He wasn't sure what he wanted to do on the phone. So then later on, like I had explained it to him, I sent it and I'm like, hey, you can call me if you have any other questions, but if you decide that you want to enroll in this one, you just click that enroll button. If you want to stay with what you're at, you don't have to worry about it, right? You'll get a notice if they enroll, right? So I got a notice. He decided to enroll in, I think I have a horrible memory because it was 9 months ago. I think it was the United Healthcare plan. So he decided to opt into paying a little bit more per month just so he wouldn't have that fluctuation in the cost. I like to point that out because I know we all have clients that are on the fence and like, oh, I'm not sure, especially if it's an existing client and you already have them on the books and they're like, well, I don't know if I want to change my plan or not. You don't want to end up having multiple meetings when you've got a big book of clients or a lot of clients to meet with. So offering that option if they're not ready to enroll into this, sending that plan comparison and just letting them know, hey, here's your options. If you decide to go with this one, do this. If you decide to go with this one, you don't have to do anything. So I just like to point that out because I think it's a huge time saver. It's helped me with some of those PDP enrollments as well, where people were on the fence with medications.
Yeah, and that consideration is great for even your AMA clients if they're really weighing out, okay, well, is it lower max out of pocket or do I want more extras this year that I care about? Like, I need to think it over. Can we schedule a second appointment? Like, we all know almost no agent has time for 2 appointments with 1 client during an AEP. So sending them that comparison and then kind of putting it back in their hands once they make a decision to do is going to save you a ton of time as well in the process. We did get a question come through that if I mark lost because someone passed away, will it still send a plan enroll link if you select all clients? So Gio, correct me if I am misspeaking here, but that should go based upon the client's status tag. So it should only send it to people that are tagged as a client. So if you kick that status from client over to lost, as we talked about, it won't prompt to send them a new plan enroll.
Right, and that's why it's important to go through and and do those tags, because when you go to and you're doing those campaigns, it will say all contacts with a plan enroll account or all contacts without a plan enroll account. If they're not in your contacts and it's something to where they're not registered as your client anymore and they're registered as lost, they're not your client, so it's not going to be sending out to them.
Yep, absolutely.
Because the verbiage, I said the verbiage differently, but it says to have clients, it's all clients that don't have a plan enroll account. I'm getting the verbiage confused there, but the idea is it's only sending it out to people that you have in your book. If you have anybody in lost, right? Because one of the reasons on lost that you would select it is do not contact, right? So compliantly, with them not being your client, you're not able to send this stuff out anyway. So that's a protection that's put in there for that too.
Absolutely. Well, we are here at time today, so I appreciate all the engagement and all the questions. If you do have any more follow-up questions, please give our office a call at 800-689-2800. And I know we are running close here on October 1st, but if you feel like you need an in-depth training on this platform, maybe you're wanting to make the jump from Medicare Link, Medicare app over here to Integrity Connect this year, give our office a call and let's get something scheduled on the books with you with the wonderful Gio here. He will take time out of his day to give you guys an in-depth rundown on everything within the platform, within Plan and Enroll, how it can help you have the best AEP you've ever had.
As I say, I have to plug the Plan and Enroll again too. If you're somebody that's currently using Integrity Connect and not utilizing Plan and Enroll, please reach out. Let's get a training on that too, because that can be a huge time saver for you.
Yeah. Absolutely. As a reminder, our office number is 800-689-2800. Give our team a call and we'd be happy to help you guys out. But again, thank you so much, everyone, for taking the time here today to sit with me and Gio. We will catch all of you guys later.